And then this event will also be recorded and posted on Duke Demon Live, which is Duke's hub for creative industries under the live episodes tab. So I'll send the link in the chat if anyone wants to go back and watch it. And as for today's agenda, we're going to start off with some details about the Associates and Internships program, an overview of the company, and then we'll get into a panel with some pre-submitted questions, I believe. And then at the end, we'll have open discussion and Q&A. So start thinking of questions, and if you would rather, don't hesitate to just send me some for me to ask for you at the end. So now I'll just pass it off to Angie to kick off the panel.
Great. Thank you so much, Adeline. We're super excited that you all joined today. Hope you all had a great Thanksgiving holiday. So my name's Angie. I'm at the DC office of Ogilvy. I'm currently an account executive. We have a great panel lined up for today. So I want to introduce Ginny, Ben, Amy, and Aubrey today with the Ogilvy team. So we'll go ahead and just do a quick introduction. We can start off with Amy, a part of the University Relations team, who's going to also share a deck with us.
Hi guys, my name's Amy Carton. It's great to meet you all. Super impressed with this turnout for a Monday after Thanksgiving break. I know I had Monday brain today, so I can only imagine you guys returning to campus classes. Thank you for being here. Like Angie said, I oversee our university relations team here at Ogilvy. So what that means is that I'm responsible for leading our next generation programs, our summer internships and our associates programs across the US. I recently transitioned into this role, so I've worn many different hats at Ogilvy, have been with the company since 2017, and I actually started in the associates program. So for me, I am living this full circle moment where I'm back where I started, but in a different capacity, and really just get to, help our next generation talent out. So very excited to be here with you all. I don't know who wants to go next. We can just finish the round of intros and then we'll dive into the deck because I want you to meet this team first.
I'll kick it off to Aubrey.
Oh, I didn't even know you could spotlight somebody. That's cool. Hi, everybody. My name's Aubrey, and I graduated from Duke in 2019. So I'm super excited to be here speaking with you all. And I was a member of the 2019 Associates program in the New York office. So I went through 3 different rotations in account management, media, and customer engagement and commerce strategy, and finally landed in media. So I've seen, similar to Amy, a lot of different parts of Ogilvy, and I love all the opportunities this company gives you to explore your interests in different industries and meet new people. So with that, I'll pass it off to, let's go with Ginny.
Hey, so I am Ginny Black. I graduated in 2019. I started off at Duke. I thought I was going to be a doctor. So that didn't happen, obviously, but I'm at Ogilvy Health now. I joined in May. I started out at a smaller communications agency after graduation, and I'm super psyched to be on board with Ogilvy and also just meeting with all you guys. So thank you for showing up and being here. A Monday night when it's already so dark out after 4 p.m. is tough, but thank you for making it. And I'll pass it on to Ben.
Hi, all. I'm Ben Kramer. I'm pretty new to Ogilvy. I think I'm on my 2nd month now. Came in from an agency called McCann World Group a couple months ago, where I actually started out there as an intern between my junior and senior year in account management. I've since moved over to new business, and I'm in a new business / biz dev role here at Ogilvy, specifically in Ogilvy Health. Looking forward to talking with all of you and answering any questions that you may have.
Great. And we'll pass it back.
I think that covers all of our intros. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me know if you guys can see it. I might need to turn my camera off in order for that to happen because technology is not always my friend, but let me. Can you all see this? Okay, yes. I see some thumbs up. Thank you. So what I'm going to do really quickly is just walk you through who we are at Ogilvy, what we're all about, the work that we do. I'm going to go through it pretty quickly because I think the most beneficial use of our time is to really allow you guys to hear from my teammates and to ask questions and to understand really a day in the life. So all of this information I can share with you afterwards. It's available wherever you go on the internet as well. But I'm going to highlight a couple of key things that I think really distinguish Ogilvy from others in the agency. So really quick, our history. Ogilvy has been around for a very long time. It was founded back in 1948 by David Ogilvy. And I like to tell the story of David Ogilvy because he epitomizes the type of individual, the type of talent that we look for at Ogilvy. David Ogilvy was a man who wore many hats and had many different careers and roles prior to creating the advertising agency. He was a chef at one point. He was a salesman. He worked as a Gallup poll researcher. He even was an Amish farmer. And really all of that created a breadth and variety of skill sets, expertise, interest, just a really cool perspective that he was able to bring to the table to found this agency. Fast forward, we are now almost at 2022, and we're a fully global organization. We have offices not only across the US, but across the globe, across several countries, and we have thousands of employees. I'm not going to put a number behind it because I don't know the number, and we continue to evolve and grow. We are in the middle of an intense hiring surge as well. I think you'll find across the board, it's a really hot hiring market right now. So whether you are looking for internships, entry-level roles, now's a really good time to be looking at Ogilvy and looking in the advertising agency at large. Of course, at the heart of what we do, we are a creative agency. So here you'll see just a couple of the many different clients that we work with at Ogilvy. I'm sure you'll see some familiar names. You'll see some names that might not be familiar to you. But what's specific and special about the work that we do at Ogilvy is that we don't just focus or specialize on one industry. We represent and work on behalf of clients across all verticals. And it's something that we're very intentional about our process in terms of seeking out clients. At the heart of each new business decision, and I know our new business people can probably speak to this a little bit better than I can, but Ogilvy is super intentional about seeking out clients that not only aligns with our internal values, but also then puts forth work that will inspire and, inspire consumers. So without our clients, obviously the biggest part of who we are is the people that we hire. So I told you that we have offices both across the US and the globe. If we take a quick look at where we're located across the US, you'll see we're represented pretty much everywhere across the country. In red, you'll see the actual city locations, and below you'll see a little bit of a description or expertise where some of our practices expert groups lie. So New York City, for example, houses the majority of our social work, our media work, our consulting hub, which has now evolved into our growth and innovation practice. Chicago tends to house a lot of our CPG clients. Washington, as you can imagine, has a lot of our government clients, a lot of our government work. Denver houses our experience design hub, whether that's employee experience or user experience. The thing that I'll say here is while yes, the cities have their own specialties and niches, they collaborate with one another across the country and across the globe. In my 4 years at Ogilvy, I have worked with almost every single city in the US. I've also had a chance to work with Ogilvy London, Ogilvy Singapore, Ogilvy South Africa. I think you'll find as well that the pandemic has really unleashed this untapped market of collaboration within our organization. And now's a really great time to not only build your community within your specific office location, but those borders have been taken away as well. I'm going to skip a couple slides just to talk to you a little bit about our culture. And what I'd also love to do, if each of my panelists wants to just share like a highlight or your favorite thing about working at Ogilvy, it could be the work itself, it could be the culture. But Ogilvy really prides itself on creating a safe space for all of their employees to bring their full selves to work, whether that is in client work or extracurricular activities such as our professional networks. Ogilvy really is taking the time to make sure that there's a cohesive experience to allow their individuals to try things out, raise their hand, and build community aside from their client team, but within the larger organization. Having just transitioned over from the client side to internal now, what is referred to as our people community, I can tell you that our leaders mean business. And over the last year and a half, we've had a shift in some of our leadership. And I can confidently tell you that I have never seen as strong of a culture at Ogilvy than I have in the last year and a half. There is a huge emphasis now, not only on work-life balance, but the personal well-being of employees, whether that's taking care of your mental health, taking time off if you need to go and get your vaccine, whatever it is, they really are putting together a comprehensive structure and program to make sure that all of our employees are enabled and feel confident to be their best selves, both in a professional and a personal environment. Can I ask some of my panelists just to share a little bit about the culture here?
Yeah, I can jump in. So one of my favorite parts about Ogilvy is that everyone comes from a different background, whether that be their academic background, their interests, what they like to do in their free time. And so it creates a really rich community of people to get ideas from and to work together with. And people are really encouraged to explore or continue exploring their interests while they're at Ogilvy, whether that be, for example, I'm just going to use my manager as an example, and he's an amateur film critic outside of his work at Ogilvy. And so whenever we have something related to movies that's going on with pitches, he'll jump in and lend his research from his own personal interests. Or when we're in the office, for example, there's a ton of affinity groups that you can join based off of your interests. And for example, I did some voter registration work because my undergrad major is political science. And so if you raise your hand for an opportunity at Ogilvy, no matter like where your interest lies, it's very possible that there is an opportunity for you to work on something at work related to your passions.
Yeah,
jump in.
piggybacking. Oh,
No, go for it.
kind of similar to what Audrey said, I just joined recently in May, and not only did I realize how much opportunity there was for me to kind of carve out my own path at Ogilvy, but just realizing how supportive people were and how many opportunities I had to get to know people and feel like I was already part of the team, even though I've never met anyone in person really. And I feel like there's just been such a strong emphasis on mental health and flexibility and really adapting to our current situation. That's been so important for me to feel like my company that I just joined really cares about me. And so that's been really great to see. Even I've only been here for about like 7 months and I already feel like part of the team. So that's been really nice for me. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh,
Ben.
no, you're more eloquent than I was going to be. I was just going to say that something I appreciate about Ogilvy is how open to input senior leaders are from sort of everyone. Everyone's voice can easily be heard. It doesn't matter if you've been here for 2 weeks or 20 years. Your input is respected and appreciated, and that's just sort of not something you find everywhere, which is something I think Ogilvy is definitely notable for. Back to you, Amy.
All right. So likely if you're sitting through this presentation, you in some capacity, some shape or form are wondering what's next. How do I get involved? How do I get a job at Ogilvy? What do the jobs even look like? So I'm going to quickly walk you through our programs. And I'm going to preface this by saying everything that I go over right now, these are not your only 2 ways into Ogilvy. In fact, there are entry-level roles, there are transitional roles. Don't stress yourself out and think that these 2 programs are your only route into Ogilvy. As our panelists today showed you, we all come from very different backgrounds. Yes, a couple of us came from the associates program, others started at other agencies. So again, there's a variety of ways that you can get involved in Ogilvy. These 2 programs happen to be my babies, my realm of expertise, so I'm going to tell you about them. So the 2 programs are our summer internship and our associates programs. Both programs are currently offered in 4 cities: Chicago, New York City, Washington, and Denver. And a question that I get often asked specific to the associates program is, what does that number breakdown look? It's a small group. I'm not going to shy away from that. We have 18 associates currently rotating through the program. 10 are located in New York, 4 in Chicago, 2 in DC, 2 in Denver. And I show you this just to be fully transparent, right? I don't show you this to scare you away from applying. In fact, I want this to encourage you to apply to our programs. The point that I show this is really to show you the amount of attention and support that individuals who go through these programs receive. We are known at Ogilvy as a teaching hospital in the agency, and I take that and I take my role very seriously. We, in these programs, equip you with the tools, resources, knowledge, information to make sure that you get the most out of these experiences, whether you're an intern or an associate. So I'll start with our summer internship. It's a pretty standard summer internship. It's a 10-week program that'll run from June to August of 2022, and it is open to both current undergraduate juniors and seniors. This is a change that we made over the last couple of years. We used to only offer the summer internship to current juniors, but we said, you know what, let's open it to seniors with the ultimate goal of having them convert to full-time hires. We did it this past summer. We saw tremendous success. Many of our senior interns then converted and are still with us as full-time hires. That also is pretty rare in our industry. Marketing, advertising, entertainment typically don't really hire except for when they have a need to fill. So the ability to do that is very exciting. I think it distinguishes us from some other competitors. Over the course of those 10 weeks, you will be placed full-time on what we call our expert groups. So you'll be put on a team full-time where you will be a fully immersed member of that team. You'll participate in the day-to-day client calls, the day-to-day responsibilities. You are on that team for the entire summer. Those expert groups include, but are not limited to, client services, production, business development. You might look at that list and say, I don't know what those mean. And that's okay. That's exactly how I was as a candidate applying. I knew that advertising was a field that I was interested in, but I couldn't tell you the difference between client services and strategy. Through your application process, you'll get to self-identify what you think your preferences are. But then as you go through the interview process and ultimately land a spot as a summer intern, you'll have ongoing communications with myself and my team to figure out the team that really is best fit for you. Of course, on the other hand, we're going to pull you out of your day-to-day responsibilities to make sure that we bring you together as an intern cohort to allow you to get exposure to skills, learning, and development. So we'll host a weekly training series where, again, you'll learn outside of your team. You'll get great exposure to sometimes clients and also senior leadership, and really focus on some of those more tangible or softer skills. Things like written email communications, how to navigate tricky situations with managers, things that often aren't covered in traditional marketing or advertising courses. At the end of the summer, you will participate in a final group project where you'll work on an actual business problem and then get to present your solution to clients and senior leadership. Personally, this is my favorite day of the summer internship because you get to work collaboratively with your fellow interns, and the thinking that you put forth actually goes somewhere. We're not just going to give you a brief and then throw it out the window. I've seen several intern groups have their ideas make it beyond just that pitch. Clients have taken it back to their larger teams. Some of the projects have even been implemented in the market. I mentioned the relationship between you and me in terms of program management. We will host a number of check-ins with my team to make sure that we're focusing on your goals. What do you want to get out of this? How do we make sure that you maximize the experience? And then the last piece of our summer internship, guys, is really mentorship and culture. We talked about culture. You heard each of our panelists share their favorite parts about working at Ogilvy. And really, when it comes down to it, we want to make sure that we set you up for success. A huge part of that is making sure that you have the ability to interact with, meet, get to know people across the organization, beyond just your day-to-day teams, beyond just the other interns. We're going to pair you with a mentor. That could be a former intern, a current associate, somebody who just is similar to yourself or has similar interests or passions, really to allow you to develop that support system. And then, of course, we'll focus on community building. So whether we are operating on a hybrid model, fully in person, I don't yet know for sure, but we will find a way to bring you all together as a group over the course of those 10 weeks. That's our internship. Our internship, in terms of pay, you're paid hourly. It's a 10-week program. On the other hand, we have our associates program. Our associates program is a full-time role where you have a full salary, benefits, etc. You are a fully fledged Ogilvy employee. The only difference being the program is 18 months. So for 18 months, you will be part of our rotational program where you'll complete 3 6-month rotations. The associates program is open to current undergraduate seniors. So if you're graduating either in December next month or in the spring of 2022, you will be eligible to apply for our associates program. The same list of options in terms of our expert groups apply to the associates program. The difference being the internship, you'll only participate in one of those teams. The associates program, you'll get to try out 3 different ones, really figure out where it is within the agency that you want to land. Do you love client services, but maybe want to try out production because it's interesting to you? We'll have those ongoing conversations. On the learning and development side, you'll see a lot of the same, a lot of the same themes, a lot of the same curriculum in place. It just takes it a step further because as opposed to 10 weeks, you're with us for 18 months. So we have the ability to be really focused on your needs, your interests, etc. So the big differentiator here with learning and development is our dedicated development weeks. So rather than pulling you out for weekly training series, we're actually going to pull you as an associates cohort in between rotations. So take all the client responsibilities away, take all distractions away, bring you together as a group and focus entirely on development. The curriculum for that is entirely up in the air. It is at the discretion of the current associates. So I actually have a survey that I am building at the moment, which I'm sending out to my associates to say, what are you craving? What are you missing in your day-to-day that you need help with? Maybe we need to do a crash course on Excel, or maybe we need to learn some of our finance systems and how Ogilvy makes money. I'm going to continually check in with my associates to make sure that the development weeks are tailored specifically to their interests and their pain points. Again, they'll partner very closely with myself and my team to focus on growth. We'll do a number of check-ins monthly, as well as some rotation presentations to make sure that the associates get to showcase their learnings and the work that they're doing. Also then helping their fellow associates figure out, what do I want to do for my next rotation? And then finally, on the sponsorship and culture piece, again, associates will also be paired with a mentor. We will also do community building. The key differentiator here is the executive sponsorship. So a member of our executive leadership team, his name is James Ginny. He is an unbelievably inspiring, cool, just really awesome, dedicated person. He has signed on as the executive sponsor of the associates program. He is our chief people officer. Both him and our CEO have come to me and said, Amy, we are politely requesting / demanding that we meet with the current class of associates every 30 to 60 days to hear their feedback, to ask questions, just to get in front of them and spend time with them. I can tell you 2 things. Number 1, that did not exist back in 2017 when I was part of the associates program. And number 2, I think it is incredibly rare as an entry-level employee to have a direct line of communication to our chief people officer and CEO. It's an unbelievable opportunity. I'm still learning from it, even in a management position. I think it really speaks volumes about Ogilvy's culture and the type of community that we're building within our organization. That's our associates program. So I'm going to just quickly talk through timelines, and then we're going to open this for Q&A for our panel discussion. Applications for both our summer internship and our associates program went live November 15th. Applications for the associates program will close on January 3rd, and for the internship, they will close at January 24th. We are not reviewing applications on a rolling basis. So whether you applied, the second applications opened on the 15th, or 11:59 on the 3rd or 24th, I will not start reviewing applications until that deadline passes. You're not going to be at an advantage by submitting your application earlier. So with that, I would just recommend take the time to really focus on your application. Focus on those writing prompts. Make sure that you're including your resume. I can't emphasize enough how big spell check is. You would be surprised at how many people just don't use it. Take the time you need to be intentional and thoughtful about your applications. From then, our interview process will be pretty quick. It'll happen between February and March. And by the end of March, all offers will be extended. You will hear from us, whether you are given an offer or whether you do not proceed past a certain round of interviews. Again, back to the teaching hospital philosophy, I will also share feedback with you every step of the way. If you don't make it to a first or second round interview, but you want to know why, we'll have a conversation and I will give you that constructive feedback. In terms of application requirements, we have made it easier than ever. All you need to do is submit a written application, which will include a number of drop-down questions and 2 writing prompts, and attach your resume. We have gotten rid of letters of recommendation as a requirement. I have gotten a lot of questions. Well, can I still include it? There's a spot on the application to submit one. You can, but I will be completely honest with you, I probably won't read it. We have found our strongest candidates, and really the opportunity for candidates to really stand out and shine is in those writing prompts. The letters of recommendation really haven't swayed our decision one way or another historically. So we made the decision to get rid of them this year. It also is very helpful this time of year. A lot of students had difficulty tracking down professors and submitting the letters. You don't have to worry about it. Just make sure that you submit a resume and answers to the 2 writing prompts. And where can you actually apply? Go to our careers site, careers.ogilvy.com/careers, and search for the associate's program or summer internship. I'll also put in the chat direct links. I'm also going to put a link in the chat to our Ogilvy Associates website, which is a really great resource. Kind of covers everything that I walked you through today and then some. You can read spotlight interviews on the current class of associates to better understand their day-to-day responsibilities. You name it. I've also put together a very comprehensive list of application FAQs, everything from questions relating to actually applying to interviews to offers. So I would ask that you please take a look at that. You can, of course, get in contact with myself or some of our other panelists, but I would recommend going there as a first step. That's all I have. I'm going to stop so that we can have a conversation because I want this to be beneficial for you all. I want you to get the most out of this. So I know Angie, Ben, and team, we have some pre-prepared questions. We can run through those and then open it up for you all to ask questions of your own.
Great. Thank you so much, Amy. So like Amy said, this is our kind of discussion time. We're really here for you all. So we would love if you put any questions in the chat or even just use the raise hand function. We would love to hear your questions for the team, but I'll go ahead and kick us off with some pre-submitted questions. To start, we have a poli-sci major. We have someone who is pre-med. So what brought you to advertising and public relations in the first place? Ginny, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so I was the one who started out pre-med. I thought I was going to be a doctor, and I started taking chemistry classes and realized it really was not my vibe. So I started taking some English classes just to see, if I could go to completely the other side of campus and, try to learn what my interests were. But I started finding ways to pair health with the humanities, and that was something that I realized existed through like the global health program. And I was doing like some education classes where I was helping out in science classrooms in Durham, and realizing there are so many ways to impact health, and you don't have to be a doctor. So I started looking around at agencies. I think I figured out junior year that I wanted to start looking into communications, but by then the Ogilvy application had closed in the spring. So I was looking around at smaller agencies who worked on like health and wellness. And I found a really small agency in Boston that worked with like the Boston Children's Hospital and Dana-Farber. And I ended up working there after graduation as well. But then I wanted to make a change this spring. I wanted to be somewhere bigger with more resources. And I loved, the intimate setting that I was in at my old agency, and kind of actually found that with Ogilvy Health. It's a smaller team within Ogilvy. There are so many parts that I'm still learning that fall under the Ogilvy and even, the WPP umbrella. But for me, it's been a really nice fit. And I love that I can keep bringing my passions together, and I'm not in a laboratory or in a doctor's office. So it's been really nice for me to be able to pursue both of those. So Yeah.
Yeah, love that so much. For context, also WPP is kind of our parent company at Ogilvy, so they own different advertising agencies. But we're so lucky to have you at Ogilvy now, Ginny.
Thank you, Angie. Psyched to be here.
Yeah. Ben, how about you? What brought you to advertising and PR in the first place?
So I went to well, what I would consider a rival, but I don't think y'all would, Wake Forest in North Carolina. And there I studied business and marketing. I went in thinking I was going to be a double major in comm and finance, and similarly, I realized not quite my speed. I wanted to remain creative though, and even though I'm very much not a creative and would never claim to be, I wanted to be in a field where people were sort of doing what I thought were creative, interesting things. And that's sort of what led me to advertising, because it let me sort of flex both the business muscles as well as the creativity muscles. Because even if I'm not the one who's making the, Lion winning campaign, the award winning campaign, the Lions is an award show, but I still get to sort of work with those people and have input in projects like that. So that's sort of why I sort of steered towards advertising in general.
Awesome. Great. And Aubrey, how about you?
Yeah. Okay. So way back when I was like on the same path as Ginny, but I made it way less far. I think I was in Chem 101 as a pre-med first semester freshman year. And then after that, I was like, there's no way I'm able to do this. So I actually ended up being a political science major and interned in my state's governor's office for the summer after freshman year of college. And I was a communications intern. And I realized I really loved the creative and like social media aspects of that, but didn't necessarily want to work in a politics office. And over the next summer, I did the Duke in New York Arts and Media program, which is where I kind of saw I wanted to be in more of a creative field, maybe, but also I was interning as an editorial content writer at a small magazine. And I realized, okay, my work needs to be a little bit more numbers focused, and maybe I'll be like taking a step back in the creative field. The following summer, I had the opportunity to intern at Nissan. So I was like, I think business is a good fit, but I was still really craving some creative elements. And so when the opportunity arose to apply to Ogilvy, I thought it sounded like a great opportunity. I was kind of thinking I wanted to do something related to marketing, but I was also, as everyone at Duke is, leaning a little bit towards consulting. And I realized that what really appealed to me about that was the ability to work on a ton of different clients and projects and industries. And I kind of realized that at Ogilvy and through a rotational program like the associates program or in an ad agency, I'd kind of get to experience those same problem solving and like experience different types of industries while also using a skill set that's both analytical and creative. And I've been definitely happy with my experience, and it's held true to kind of my impressions when I went in.
Great. Well, Aubrey, you talking about kind of that shift in going from the associates program to finding which department you liked. All of us on the panel today have pretty different roles at Ogilvy. You'll see that there's different crafts, we call them, such as account, strategy, the paid team, and I think we're all in pretty much different crafts. So I just want to hear more about what your day-to-day looks like what does your position entail, and what brought you to that craft. And Amy, even though you've shifted, I know you were a strategist at one point, would love to hear more about what the strategy craft is like.
Yeah, absolutely. So for 3 years prior to me just making the shift to university relations, I was part of the strategy department on a pretty unique team that was formerly known as dialogue strategy. It has since been rolled up into Ogilvy's larger employee experience practice. But what it really is at the end of the day is working with employees of a brand to make sure that they have the tools, resources, talk tracks to be able to speak effectively on behalf of a brand. So talking about the brand's products. I think the best way I can explain it to you all is American Express was my client. So specifically, I worked with call center representatives who were responsible for selling, educating, and preventing small business owners from canceling their card. They were also responsible for getting small business owners to enroll in a credit card. I'm sure I would ask for a show of hands, but I already know the answer. I can guarantee that everyone on this call has had a negative experience with a customer service representative at some point in their lives, where at some point you want to hang up the phone, you want to rip your hair out, you are just driving yourselves crazy because you're not getting to the solution that you need in an effective amount of time. My job as a strategist was to come up with the thinking, the research, and ultimately the solutions to make sure that that doesn't happen at American Express with the small business sector. So a day in the life of a strategist, really no 2 days are the same. For me, it was a lot of researching trends, understanding what are positive talk tracks. Are there strategies in terms of conversation flows and dialogues that these customers should be taking? For example, it turns out that it's really important when you're speaking to customers to first ask them how they're doing, ask what brings them to the call, rather than leading in with a specific product that you're trying to sell. Focus on the customer first. Make sure you're asking probing questions. So I did a lot of trends research, which then informed solutions that I created with my team. My team was a little bit unique. I definitely was much more client facing. I traveled for work a ton. I was a very frequent visitor to Appleton, Wisconsin, Wausau, Wisconsin, Middleton, Wisconsin, Tucson, Arizona. So for me, that was cool because no 2 days were alike. I got to be on my feet, really working with these call center representatives directly. So it's a little bit of a different experience than traditional strategy, right? Because I'm working B2B, I'm not working directly with consumers, but the impact that the work that I did on consumers is invaluable. And you could kind of see the proof in the pudding as soon as those customers signed up for credit cards.
What a busy day to day. That's the beautiful and fun world of strategy. All right, and Ben, you are part of the new business team. What's the world of new business like?
New business is kind of weird. I always would say I don't actually work in advertising. I work in something adjacent. I don't have clients. Nor have I ever outside of when I was an intern. My entire career is spent in business development, working with typically global leadership to help pitch and win new businesses. So basically think some company, let's say Hershey's, wants to do a new campaign for M&Ms, or build a new website for M&Ms, or do something like that. They're going to put out an ask to a whole bunch of different agencies saying, give us a proposal on what we should do. And then they narrow down those proposals to a couple of sort of finalists who then go and present creative ideas and sort of fight it out for who's going to get the contract to do that. That's what I sort of do over and over again for different companies. Being at Ogilvy Health now, it's typically major pharmaceutical companies, biotechs, and sort of health leaders in hospital systems. So that means whenever, one of those awesome commercials with all the copy at the bottom saying side effects is going to be on TV, some agency like ours would have sort of worked to win that business with whatever drug company produced that drug, and produce the commercial. So I'm a little bit different in that I don't have the clients, but I get exposed to all aspects of the agency life every day, because every pitch is sort of an exercise in a full campaign. It's just more theoretical than it is practical. Sorry if that's a confusing one. I still don't know how to explain to people what I do.
That definitely is a busy craft, but it's really important to Ogilvy, and exciting to see new business come in. I did just see we have 3 minutes left of our time. So I want to make sure that if anyone has a question, now is your chance to ask it in the chat, or you can come off mute. If not, we'll just roll with one more question.
Not all at once, everyone.
I have a question if you don't mind.
Go for it, yes.
Okay, I'll ask mine quickly and then Jillian can go. I was just wondering, like, maybe this is for Amy or anyone who's had the experience working with interns, but kind of what skills do you see like the most successful interns tend to possess, whether that's like soft skills or more technical things?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it kind of goes across the board, whether it's intern, associate. I think individuals who thrive and really succeed at Ogilvy are just innately curious. They're individuals who are willing to raise their hand, willing to seek out opportunities. The nature of our programs, they're structured enough that we do provide the guardrails to, enable you to go out and raise your hand. But the more you're willing to take on opportunities and really ask questions, I think that makes for really successful individuals. In terms of technical skills, I can say that our programs are kind of designed for a generalist mindset. You could be a traditional marketing and advertising major. Sure, that's great. Is that all we're looking for? Absolutely not. I'd also say that our talent thrives in our internship and our associates program because of their unique backgrounds. So when it comes to applying, if you have experience that's not directly related to advertising or marketing, include it in your resume. Don't try and tailor your resume and your application to what you think we're looking for, because more times than not, we're actually not looking for that cookie cutter response. We're looking for you to showcase your individuality. We're looking for you to showcase your different perspectives. And the more you're able and willing to do so, I think the more you'll find that you'll be able to authentically fit in at Ogilvy.
Great. Jillian, would you like to ask your question next?
If you have an interest in a specific industry as an employee or intern, can you indicate that and kind of work on projects within that industry, or kind of just placed on whatever's needed at the moment?
So are you asking specifically about clients in terms of verticals and industries of clients, or within our expert group crafts?
Within the clients.
Okay, so you can certainly express an interest. I cannot guarantee that you'll be placed on that team for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's a matching process of sorts. So when you submit your application, you'll be able to actually indicate your preferences. Are you someone who's looking for a strategy internship, or are you more interested in production, et cetera? That's step one. I take all that information and then I work with our resourcing teams to figure out what are the teams that actually have a need for an intern or associate. I'm never going to place you on a team that doesn't have the work to sustain you for however long you're part of that team. That wouldn't be productive for anyone. So certainly, as we go through the application process, as you go through the placement process, you and I would have a conversation, express that interest. I can tell you from my own personal experience, I came in with an entertainment background. I'm a TV junkie. My internship was at NBC. I was so excited. I knew that Showtime was a client of Ogilvy's. I said, I want Showtime. That's all I want. Like, I want to make sure I do it. And I was told no straight to my face. And they said, we'll revisit it down the road. But for X, Y, and Z reasons, we think that you need to get exposure here. We want to push you in this direction. It's an ongoing conversation. I ended up doing my third rotation in Showtime. So did it work out at the end of the day? Yes, but it's never going to be a guarantee.
Thank you.
Did any of other panelists want to add to that? Maybe in some different industries you've worked with?
I'd say like in your time at Ogilvy, you're able to work in industries and even help on pitches across verticals, just depending on like what client needs are at the time, where business is booming. And you always have the opportunity to like raise your hand for something. So even if it's not like necessarily a build project, you can work if there's like a strategist, for instance, that you really wanted to work with. I was able to raise my hand recently and help out with some research for like IKEA's in-store like gaming stuff that they're working on. And it wasn't necessarily a client of mine, but if you network and indicate your interest in certain areas, there's always opportunities that arise to work on it in some capacity. And similar to what Amy said. Oh, go ahead.
No, go finish. You please finish.
Yeah, similar to what Amy said, I mean, it's never quite a guarantee, but I'd say like the plus side of that is that you're able to get you're able to explore areas that you may never even thought of. Like my first rotation was in ChemWars, which is the chemical spinoff of Dow DuPont. And I, at first, when I saw my assignment, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I didn't come here to like work on a chemical business. But it ended up being super cool because we did a whole project on like smart cities, and I did a bunch of research that ended up being super interesting to me. So I think coming in with an open mindset to the ad industry is super valuable.
I was just going to say, in general, I think one of the advantages of advertising, especially early in a career, is that it allows you to get exposed to multiple different industries, different types of businesses, whether it be B2C, B2B, heavily technical or heavily commercial. I just think that advertising, similar to earlier mentioned consulting, allows you to sort of get a taste for different things. You might not necessarily know everything there is to know about whatever specific company you're working for, because you're obviously more on the marketing side. But I do think that you do get to sort of try a lot of things and see if there's anything specifically that really interests you to either dive deep in further in the marketing world or, you know, explore in other ways throughout your career.
Great. Thanks, man. And thanks for your question, Jillian. Avery, I see your hand is up if you would like to come off mute.
Sure. Yeah, I just want to be conscious of everyone's time. So if you all are okay to stay, then just the only question I was going to ask is how do the crafts and the areas of focus that you mentioned earlier in the call, how do employees within those crafts overlap and collaborate and work together, and do they? And what is the process of that like on a daily basis?
That's a great question. I'm going to jump in here really quick to show you a visual that'll bring it to life. I'm going to preface this. This is new to Ogilvy. It is still being rolled out. We are an ever evolving company, so I might not be able to so eloquently describe it, but I think that seeing it come together, it will be super helpful. So the short answer is that Ogilvy has at its core 5 business units, and within each of those business units lie those expert groups that we told you about. So you could be a strategist on our experience business. You could also be a strategist on our traditional advertising business. What it does is creates an opportunity for mobility across the organization, where you can spend your entire career as a strategist, but flex different muscles, go in and out of our different businesses, work across different clients. Just because you start at Ogilvy as a strategist on one team does not mean that you're tied down to that team forever. So there's a whole intersection, and it'll make sense why I keep doing this. When you see the slide, it really comes together in like a woven structure where you can go in and out of the different business units and really flex those skills and move laterally and hierarchically within the organization. In my own experience, I can tell you that I worked as a strategist across 3 of our different business units. Now I'm in an entirely different business unit in a different function. The thinking behind this new structure, it's taking a very long time to load, I'm sorry. The thinking behind the new structure is to create the ability for mobility, not only as an individual, but also in a team and community setting. And here it is. 1 second. Can you see this?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so what you see here, these columns are the 5 key business units, and then each of the expert groups are here. So strategy, creative and design, client leadership, et cetera, they exist across each of those business units.
Got it. Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. If any of my panelists have a more like real life example of how that comes to life, feel free to share.
I said, I'm happy to share, but if my perspective is a little bit different, just because, as I said, I'm not on day-to-day business. So if anyone else wants to jump in front of me, please do so. Okay. So I would say absolutely. And I don't think the company would work if you weren't constantly collaborating with everyone else. I mean, it's easy for me to say because I haven't been one, but I always think of account people who are on client services are sort of the voice of the client. Strategists are the ones who write the brief, who have to then get approved by the client, who then the creatives are going to take that and create whatever campaign magic is going to come out of that. Then there's going to have to be a whole department of media people placing it. There's going to be analysts doing the data and figuring out how effective it was. So every sort of full campaign is going to have every single piece touched. So this is an incredibly collaborative and human first business. I think skills that matter here probably matter everywhere, but especially here, being able to communicate across sort of different types of people working in different places now with COVID is, I think, one of the major skills that sort of you're going to learn and have to be good at in this industry. So if you don't like collaboration, if you wanted to sit in your own like little cubicle, there might be a spot, but I would say most people in advertising are people, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Great. Well, I know we are a few minutes over, so we'll start wrapping up. But thank you so much to our panelists, and thank you for all of those who attended on a Monday evening after a holiday break. We really do appreciate you learning more about Ogilvy. We love sharing about Ogilvy, and clearly 45 minutes is not enough time to talk about how much we want to share with you. So we do have some bios and contact information that we'd love to share with you all. If you have any personal questions, whether it's application or just about general positions, we can go ahead and share that with Madeline, with Duke's Bow, and she can circulate that information. Find us on LinkedIn, our names are out there. So we're definitely happy to answer any questions along your journey as you kind of discern and think about what you're looking forward to, whether that's in advertising, PR, or just life in general. Great. Well, thank you so much, everyone. I think we'll go ahead and wrap up then. Hope you have a great rest of your evening.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I hope to
you.
see some of your applications soon.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
everybody.
Thank you.